I remember walking down the hall of the university where I was taking a graduate class. This was probably like 2002. I looked up at the bulletin board full of like tons of posters and flyers, and I saw this colorful poster for a 500-mile charity bike ride to support the fight against HIV and AIDS. I didn't own a bike. I didn't have any money. I had never really trained as a serious cyclist. What would you expect me to do? I signed up for that 6 day, 500-mile bicycle ride with a couple thousand strangers. Of course I did. I've been reading the book of Acts in the Bible lately, and there is this story of Paul and Silas traveling town to town and facing some pretty serious challenges. So maybe that's what has me thinking back to this long, grueling bike ride that I did. Now, don't get me wrong, we never got thrown in jail or beaten publicly without trial like the Apostle Paul did, but you know, that's how memories work. I read a story in the Bible and it reminded me of a vaguely relatable moment in my own life. This bike ride was wild, though. I really knew literally zero people of the thousands that were out there. I had to scrounge up money, beg for money to buy a decent bike, which, by the way, 20 some years later is still hanging in my garage because I can't part with that prized possession of mine. I trained for months. I begged my family and friends for donations so I could qualify to go. And by the end of the trip, it was never about the cycling. It was always about the people. It was always about the people I got to meet. There's something about a shared purpose between people that makes you willing to help each other through any trials. There is something about a clear cause that brings people closer together no matter the circumstances. I'm not going to bemoan the gory details of this trip. Either you're a cyclist and you know about the pain of a bike seat, the cramping when you don't fuel right, the gruel of wind and rain, and the frustration of multiple flat tires, or you're not a cyclist and you wouldn't get it. But it was hard, exhausting, painful, exhausting. Did I mention painful? But there's something about a shared cause. I remember on that trip each night when we set up our massive tent camp on high school football fields or empty farmland, we would all eat together and we'd hear stories from survivors of the AIDS epidemic. Brave people who had been fighting HIV themselves or who had seen so many of their friends and loved ones die at the height of the epidemic. And we told stories to each other. When you're trapped in the middle of Wisconsin with a couple of thousand people, no phones, no computers, and not much else to do, you bond about real stuff, about real life. We were nothing like Paul and Silas, as their story is told in Acts 16. But thinking back on that trip makes me wonder about their conversations late at night, their small talk while riding on a saddle from town to town, their friendship and sacred relationship. I'm certain their shared purpose gave them strength and deepened their bonds. I'm sure their clear cause fueled them when they wanted to give up. Let me offer a short blessing for your week. May you find others who share your passions. May you gather with people who are chasing the same dreams. May you rally around a purpose so important that the people with whom you're rallying become your brothers, your sisters, your siblings. May God bless our shared purpose of a more connected, less lonely world. And may that driving force bring us closer together. Amen. Between is about you. Take this message into your life this week and transform the world around you through simple, sacred, loving moments of human connection. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.